Hello and welcome back to Man vs Film. It is October already and I am super excited to bring you some movies to watch in this spooky season of the year. There is a little bit of a horror flair through some of these titles, not all of them, that I hope you are curious about. Some are less horror and more psychological than others, and some are just in there because they're fun movies. Let's get to it. Number 10, Stretch. Stretch, a down-on-his-luck limo driver, is in debt to some serious people. To earn money, he agrees to drive an eccentric billionaire around for a night. Besides making increasingly bizarre special requests as the night wears on, the billionaire also has criminal connections and puts their lives in danger by selling off a list of his underworld contacts. Stretch is a terrific movie that is very little known, and it's really strange. Directed by Joe Carnahan, starring Patrick Wilson as Stretch and Chris Pine as the eccentric billionaire. This is one of those wacky, all-in-one night kind of adventures, and it just gets increasingly weirder as the movie goes on. It's kind of darkly humorous, it's got some good action set pieces, it's fun, it's inventive, and nobody ever talks about Stretch. Time to get to it. Number 9, Freddy vs Jason. It's been nearly 10 years since Freddy Krueger terrorised people in the dreams, and the townsfolk want to keep him erased from their memory. Freddy still has one more plan on getting back to Elm Street. He resurrects Jason Voorhees and sends him off to kill. The more bodies which fall to the ground, the stronger Freddy becomes. This is until Freddy realises that Jason isn't going to step aside easily and must be taken down. Freddy vs Jason. It was the movie that horror fans wanted, and it had a little bit more of an action-centric spin to it. Directed by Ronnie Yu, he adds a nice kind of flair to this movie, and we get these two hulking slasher behemoths battling out in front of our eyes. Apart from a little ropey CGI in some places, it's an incredibly fun movie, the best we could really have hoped for. Number 8, The Social Dilemma. This investigative documentary with an enlightening narrative includes expert testimony from tech whistleblowers, exposes our disturbing predicament, the services big tech provides, search engines, networks, instant information, are merely the candy that lures us to bite. Once we're hooked and coming back for more, the real commodity they sell is their prowess to influence and manipulate us. I'm a little bit torn on The Social Dilemma. I feel it offers up some really eye-opening facts and some terrifying opinions about certain social media, but it has this strange narrative throughout it that feels a little bit heavy-handed, but it's rather compelling. And if you have a child who is possibly about to start into the social media game, I think it's important to check this one out. Number 7, Darkman. Peyton Westlake is a scientist who has discovered a way to produce synthetic skin. This could revolutionise skin grafting, except for one minor glitch. The synthetic skin degrades after 100 minutes of exposure to light. When gangsters attack Peyton, he's horrifically burnt and assumed dead. In his quest for revenge, Peyton, otherwise known as the Darkman, is able to take on the appearance of anyone, but he only has 100 minutes per disguise. Sam Raimi brings his inventive style and kinetic energy to this film that is almost superhero-esque in the way it tackles its subject, with our anti-hero Darkman being portrayed by Liam Neeson in some wonderfully grotesque sequences. This is one of those kind of pulpy, fun horror ones that doesn't really offer much in the form of gore or scares, but just really inventive in the energy that the film actually has. Number 6, First Man, a biopic on the life of the legendary American astronaut Neil Armstrong from 1961 to 1969 on his journey to become the first human to walk the moon, exploring the sacrifices and costs on the nation and Neil himself during one of the most dangerous missions in the history of space travel. Ryan Gosling plays Neil Armstrong in this movie that was quite what I expected when I went into the cinema to see it. It's got stunning visuals, it has a hell of a finale when we get to the actual moon landing, and it does offer a lot of information about NASA and their almost fly by the seat of their pants type of science that they were developing as they created space travel. But it gives you a kind of insight into the character as well. It's a little bit subdued in moments, and it's one of those ones that faded quickly in the cinema, but I think it was a rather entertaining watch. Number 5, The Babysitter, Killer Queen. 2 years after defeating a satanic cult led by his babysitter B, Cole once again has to outsmart the forces of evil when old enemies unexpectedly return to finish the job. McG, he managed to really surprise us with The Babysitter, a rather inventive, comedic horror movie that was full of splatter gore and was increasingly fun the further it went into its crazy tale. The sequels, however, has a little bit too much reliance on over-style moments throughout the movie, rather than sticking to the story and the comedy where it's at its strengths. It's a movie that I wanted to like and hated moments of it, but ultimately found it a nice connection to the first one, although I do feel that The Babysitter is the far better movie. Number 4, Demolition Man. Frozen in 1996, Simon Phoenix, a convicted crime lord, has a parole hearing in 2032. Somehow he manages to escape and resumes his murderous rampage, and no one can stop him. John Spartan, the police officer who captured him in 96 and had also been frozen, is defrosted to help tackle this violent enemy that he has, as the police, now a non-violent entity, are struggling to cope with this crazed madman. Demolition Man is a wonderful movie. It's incredibly silly, and it's all down to Wesley Snipes. And I think he is wonderful in the role of Simon Phoenix, chewing on the scenery, just living it up as a bad guy. And with a bad guy, it's colourful and violent and as interesting as we have here with Simon Phoenix. It makes for a really good movie. We get Stallone being a little bit out of his comfort zone while still sticking to the tropes that his movies genuinely have, and it's just a fun, inventive, really entertaining 90s blockbuster. Number 3, Halloween. It's been 40 years since Laurie Strode survived the vicious attack from crazed killer Michael Myers on Halloween night. Locked up in an institution, Myers manages to escape when his bus transfer goes horribly wrong. Laurie now faces a terrifying showdown when the masked man returns to Haddonfield, but this time she's ready for him. The 2018 sequel to the 1978 original was rather terrific, ignoring a lot of the wackiness that came in between those two movies. We are thrown right back into Laurie Strode, played by Jamie Lee Curtis, as she is a woman who has been tormented by that night, his life has been dominated by the possible reoccurrence of this killer, destroying her family, destroying her life, and we get to see the ramifications while sticking to the kind of tropes that are typical of a Halloween movie. It's really, really terrific. Highly recommended. Number 2, Enola Holmes. In England, 1884, a world on the brink of change. On the morning of her 16th birthday, Enola Holmes wakes to find that her mother has disappeared, leaving behind an odd assortment of gifts, but no apparent clue to where she has gone or why. Enola suddenly finds himself under the care of her brothers Sherlock and Mycroft, both sending her away to finishing school. Enola escapes to search for her mother in London, but her journey finds her entangled in a mystery surrounding a young runaway lord. I was really surprised by Enola Holmes. I found it really charming and wonderful and gave me that kind of mystery that I really do latch on to in movies. And I think Millie Bobby Brown created a really charismatic lead. I think Henry Cavill was a little bit of a different choice for Sherlock, but I feel that it worked. And I want more within this world. The fourth wall breaking, talking to the camera, I felt I was uncertain of at start, but it really grew on me. I had a real sense of the kind of movie it was going to be, and it just worked incredibly well. A really good introduction to this character, along with a really good mystery. Number 1, A Cure for Wellness. An ambitious young executive is sent to retrieve his company's CEO from an idyllic but mysterious wellness centre at a remote location in the Swiss Alps. He soon suspects that the spa's miraculous treatments are not what they seem when he begins to unravel is a terrifying secret. His sanity is tested and he finds himself diagnosed with the same curious illness that keeps all the guests here longing for the cure. Gore Verbinski directs A Cure for Wellness and it is a beautiful, stunning movie. Every shot is curated in such a strange fashion. It's just works of art. You get this odd tale where it's all about atmosphere, an unease, a strange going on is definitely happening here. It's not really about the mystery at the heart of it, although that is a nice curiosity. It's more about the strange images, the weird characters and the things going bump in the night. A Cure for Wellness was one of my favourite movies of the year it came out. A movie that was kind of neglected by a lot of people. This isn't a fully fledged horror movie, but I think it's perfect for the October season. So there we have it, 10 fantastic movies to keep you occupied as the dark nights start to creep in. I hope you find something there that's going to rattle your nerves or keep you interested throughout this month. If you have any suggestions for me, feel free to drop them in the comment box below, and of course, please like this video if you enjoyed it, leave a comment if you have anything to say, or join my Patreon where you can support this channel and these videos for just $1, €1 or £1. Links in the description. Thanks for watching and I'll see you next month.